such a nuanced decision to choose where to live.
所以你们是自己选择吗？还是学校会帮你们指派？
We had the opportunity to rank our choices, at least for my school. I know this is kind of similar for a lot of schools, but you rank your choices based on needs, such as who you want to live with, what kind of person you want to live with if you're not choosing your own roommate, availability, needs, income, all of these factors. Because obviously living with yourself is going to cost a whole lot more than living with 8 other people. But there's just a lot of factors that went into deciding both personally and externally. How far was this from campus? How far is this from where I hang out and things like that? For me, one of the priorities was that I wanted a kitchen and wanted to make sure that I wasn't living too close to campus. I knew that I would succumb to the whole rolling out of bed 15 minutes before class thing. So I wanted to give myself kind of some space between where I lived and where I worked and where I played. Now, obviously, I think this decision means a lot, and a lot of people I know were hugely influenced by the places they live, whether that was their friends or their habits. But fundamentally, I think any place you live is what you make of it. For some, at the very least, a dorm is just a bed that you go home and sleep. You study in the library, you eat in the dining hall, all of these things. And for some, your dorm is a home, that you are in all hours of the day, that your friends are often in. And so I think it really just depends on, the kind of person you are, the needs you have, and also fundamentally, once you get there, opportunities that arise from it that really define how your first year housing goes.
Well, two things I really internalized was one, this is not your room, this is you guys' room. Meaning that if something's like out of place or like if something's messy, like maybe that's just how somebody else lives. And like just because it doesn't look exactly the way that you would want your room to look, that's fine because it's not your room, it's a room that you're sharing. And on the other hand, because you are sharing a room, like this isn't just your space to trash, like maybe if you're living in a single, you can afford to leave your stuff out a little bit more. But the courteous thing to do is to like make your bed in the morning or clean your desk off. And I think once you really understand that, like, this is a room that we're sharing with a person who I actively want to have a good relationship with, it's almost kind of like in the initial stages of like meeting somebody where you're kind of like trying to impress them and trying to do right by them. And I think that's really helped me and my roommate so far. Also, if there's like certain chores that you don't like to do, for example, I really don't like vacuuming because it's really loud, but my roommate really doesn't like do the dishes because she just doesn't like to like get all up in there. Like, so I do all of the dishes and she does all of the vacuuming. And like, that's what worked out for us. I think the second thing is I made a commitment to myself. If I'm not going to bring it up, I'm not going to be upset about it. So all of the issues that I had with my roommate, for example, if one of us was staying up too late and that bothered me, I would say, well, I'm either going to bring it up with her nicely and say, hey, like I would kind of like for us both to like get to bed at this time because I have to go to class early or something like that. But if I knew that I wasn't comfortable mentioning it to her and it wasn't something I was going to try to fix, then every time I noticed it, I'm going to be like, I can either be upset about it or I can either be upset about it and bring it up, or I can try to find some kind of way to get over it. I think that there really is no reason to have a bad relationship with a person that you're literally sharing a room or a home with. And I feel like that process has just really helped me know that like this is somebody who I really, really care about. And just because there's ways that we live that are different doesn't mean that they're necessarily bad. And there's so many things I love and respect about this person. And I know that if I speak to her about it, she'll probably be very attentive to what I'm saying. And I think, well, we're renewing our lease for a third year. So I think it's worked pretty well so far.
This is definitely very school dependent. At my school, they have a great sale at the beginning of the year where you can buy clothes, school supplies, bedding, vacuums, all sorts of things for dirt cheap, like $1 or $2, maybe $5 max. It's a super good deal. So definitely err on the side of caution. Don't bring anything unless you know that you're definitely going to need it. And you can definitely get things there if you're traveling. So once you get there, check out your dorm situation, figure out if you actually need that vacuum or if there's a communal one you can use. And then that's when you can actually go do the shopping. Um, I know some people might be worried about the stores running out of supplies, but honestly, you can get anything on Amazon these days, so it's super easy. One thing that I personally found to be kind of surprising was like the need for a fridge. At my dorm, we had a fridge on like every single floor, but they were a communal fridge, and people had food in there from like orientation week that was never cleaned out. But for me, because I thought I had that communal fridge, I didn't get a mini fridge from my own room. So that was probably one of my biggest regrets. If you like to keep your own snacks, or like have drinks on hand, super convenient. I would highly recommend. But just know that you will have to move that out at the end of the year, which can be annoying. Um, but yeah, like others have said before, definitely reach out to other people from your school and see what has helped them, because that would be the most personal.